This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
Hello there. Today's episode is brought to you by tpublic.com. Take a look at the Animanicast TeePublic store by going to tiny.cc/Animanicast. There you'll see an assortment of Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, Freakazoid, and Tiny Toon designs, all created by independent artists. Support the artists and the show. Head to tiny.cc/Animanicast.
And welcome everybody to episode 43 of the Animanicast.
In the glorious mall, we'll find a birthday gift for Dr. Scratch and Sniff.
Don't you love it when we sing the plot?
Something nifty, something thrifty for a shrinky Scratch and Snifty in the mall.
And welcome to the Animanicast. We are the only podcast that's dedicated to the animated television series Animaniacs. Here we explore the series episode by episode, revisiting all the cultural references and gags that we can find. And in the end, we give each episode a water tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me once again is my brother Nathan.
I eat beans with George Wendt.
And across the country in Georgia is Kelly.
Hi.
Well, everybody, today we have an episode. It's kind of a weird episode, isn't it? It starts off kind of but it ends like a strong finish.
Yeah, it gets better.
It gets better. So I guess that's your word episode in a few words.
Hey,
then
it gets better.
It
guys.
gets better. Kelly, if you were to describe this episode in a few words, what would you say about it?
Would you like to take a survey?
Oh boy, I have so much to talk about that cartoon. It's one of my favorites, despite the animation. But anyway, well, before we get into today's discussion, let's find out. Nathan!
Yes.
When was today's episode? When did it first premiere?
All right, this first premiered on November 17th, 1993.
Okay.
It was a Wednesday, and the U.S. House of Representatives had just approved the North American Free Trade Agreement, otherwise known as NAFTA.
NAFTA.
Which is now in the news, too. So
yeah. Hey, what do you know?
Yeah.
You know what else is in the news, Nathan?
Well, there's lots of things in the news, and by the time the episode comes out, just tell me.
This is better news.
Okay.
I just found out through that there's a good possibility. It's not confirmed 100%, but that Animaniacs Live will be coming to Tucson, Arizona.
That's where we live.
That's where we live. So we might just be going to the Rialto to check it out at the end of May.
And we can give a review.
Oh, yeah.
Podcast, so.
Oh, yes. And for those people who are listening on the day this is released, in just 1 week, the show Animaniacs Live premieres, in California. I forget the exact town. It's in Southern California.
Yeah.
It's far enough away that Nathan and I couldn't make it.
Or didn't want to make.
No, we wanted to.
Okay.
We wanted to. Oh, the rustling means...
Oh, sorry.
Well, you know what that rustling means.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh.
No.
I thought it was...
I was eating more pretzels.
It's time for more pretzels.
I meant to hit the mute button.
It means we forgot to hit the mute.
Well, today's episode is brought to you by pretzels.
Yum.
And, I tell you what, let's stop talking about pretzels. Let's stop talking about all that. Let's go ahead and get right into our first cartoon of today.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, today, episode 43 covers Of Nice and Men, What a Dump, and Survey Ladies. Well, let's go ahead and go straight to Of Nice and Men. Of Nice and Men was written by Randy Rogel and Sherry Stoner And it was directed by Michael Gerard. And, Nathan.
Yeah.
What the heck happens in Of Nice and Men?
Well, we have another Rita and Runt cartoon, so that's pretty exciting.
Sometimes.
Rita and Runt are traveling on the train, I guess, like hobos, and they end up at a bunny farm, and Runt turns out to be a really good bunny handler, I guess.
Yeah.
And Rita has to hunt down a rat, I guess, and she sings a lot, and Runt has a song of his own, even.
Yeah, that was different.
Yeah, it turns out, though, that the bunny farm, they're killing the bunnies to make bunny coats. So they all escape from the bunny farm onto the train, and there they go. So
there you go. Yeah, that's pretty much. They all escape with all the bunnies.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows whatever happened to those bunnies?
I don't know.
They found a different... They dropped them off at the nearest...
restroom.
No.
They needed to use their
the bunny... They couldn't use the bunny beds.
Yeah.
To go
to the bathroom. Yeah.
Well, it was a very cute Rita and Runt cartoon. I think it was nice. In fact, a little nicer than some of the Rita and Runt cartoons I think we've seen in the past.
Yeah, Runt was smart enough to figure out too what the whole thing was going on,
and Rita was getting hit quite a bit, which she doesn't up until this point at least hasn't really happened that much.
Yeah, she doesn't get injured too much.
She usually gets almost injured and then gets saved by Runt. Well, let's go over some of the cultural references and everything. Of course, this episode of Nice and Men is a parody or a takeoff of the book of Mice and Men.
Yeah.
Written by John Steinbeck. Have either of you read Of Mice and Men?
I have. I also saw the movie.
And Kelly, what about you?
I don't know which movie.
No, in English class, we watched the movie in lieu of reading the book.
I feel terrible because, at my middle school, all the 8th graders read it as part of their curriculum. Mm-hmm. And I have yet to read the book. So it's one of these things where the 8th graders, where middle school kids know more than me, and I always feel like I'm an idiot. These kids know more than me when it comes to Of Mice and Men. And they all love it, too. A lot of kids really do like the book.
I always just think of, like, Looney Tunes, because, like, the smart guy's name is George, and the other one's Lenny. But I always just go like, where did he go, George? Where did he go?
Yeah. Whenever they get hit on the head in Looney Tunes and stuff, that happens. And, of course, the Abominable Snowman does that whole thing with Bugs Bunny and Rabbit and everything. Because in Mice and Men... is it Lenny?
Lenny is the slower one.
Lenny's the slower one. Lenny he wants to go to a bunny farm, right? To pet all the rabbits. And I think, is there a part with a mouse, or am I getting like Flowers for Algernon mixed up with it?
It sounds
too?
like Flowers of Algernon, but there could be a mouse in it.
I want to say that there's a part in the... Again, this is speaking from a person who's never seen the movie or read the book. Isn't there a scene where he accidentally crushes the mouse or something and kills a mouse or something?
Yeah, I thought it was a bunny, but he does that with creature. Whenever he gets a soft creature, he crushes it.
It isn't mouse because the book's called Of Mice and Men, so
that makes sense. There you go. Yeah. But yeah, whenever he gets...
It's a really long time since I've seen the movie, but I think that's kind of why it's called that.
Yeah.
Whenever he gets a soft thing, he likes it so much that he ends up crushing it on accident. So yeah.
Well, and of course, the mouse in this case was a cameo by the Brain, which was kind of cool.
That was a lot of fun. He hates it though.
Yeah, he doesn't like being cameos.
He hates cameos.
What you got in your hand?
Only a mouse, George.
I hate cameos.
Men don't play with mice.
Are you pondering what I'm pondering?
So, of course, John's one of the things that they mention a lot of the reference guides here is the whole thing of going to Monterey in the first place is something that's in a lot of Steinbeck books, happen to focus around Monterey, California. And John Steinbeck actually was born and raised in Monterey, California. Wow. So there you go. You can go to Monterey, and you can go to Monterey, as Rita was singing, to go see his house. And
sing that song.
And sing that song the entire way.
That's right, like the cheese.
Monterey, Monterey, it's the California living with the sun and the surf, and we'll never have to give in to another human master again. It's Cannery Row for dinner, and then we'll sleep on the beach where the sand is heaped up in piles.
Definitely a lot of sand.
A little box for miles.
I guess really the only other kinds of things that I could think of as references to other stuff is, of course, Jim Cummings is doing the voice of Bob, the Happy Bob, as the bunny ranch guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not the bunny ranch, that's something else. But Happy Bob is doing like it's voiced by Jim Cummings, who of course voices Hondo Inaka and Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too.
And Ed the hyena.
And Ed the hyena. Yeah, I can't even say Ed the hyena. But he's doing a kind of Pat Buttram voice with this as well. So that reference to Pat Buttram's cowboyish kind of voice, is in this.
Dinner time. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-loo-bum, ba-da-da-doodly-bum, ba-dee-da-la-ba-doodly-bum. Everybody gather around now. Eat it up and gobble it down. That's right. Eat your food, you'll all see. Pretty soon you'll all be nice and fat and furry and round. Look at this fur, ain't it purty? So soft and so shiny and sleek. We take our time to rush it, clean and shine and brush it every single day of the week. A tweedledee, a tweedledee-doo. Eat up all them carrots and plants. If you want a furry rabbit, come on down and grab it at Happy Bob's Bunny Ranch.
The only other little reference that I could find is the Sondheim thing that Rita says.
Hey, it's a cartoon. What'd you expect, Sondheim?
Which makes, it's kind of cool that Bernadette Peters was talking about this isn't Sondheim, because she's been in, I know at least one Sondheim musical of Into the Woods, where she played the witch.
Ah.
So, she has a, connection with Sondheim right there. So that was pretty cool. But that's about it for the cultural references. What do you guys think? What were some moments that you really liked, that you thought were cool or funny, things like that? Kelly, let's start with you.
Well, I appreciated the Sondheim reference because, as frequent listeners know, I am a big fan of Bernadette Peters because she was in Annie, which is like the greatest movie ever made in the early 1980s. That wasn't Star Wars or a Spielberg film. But I remember, I haven't seen all of his musicals or anything, but I do connect her very heavily with Sondheim because there's a little bit of a musical we saw in art class called Sunday in the Park, where she's in it, and or I think she's in it, but I remember her in that, and it's based on a Toulouse-Lautrec painting, which is one of the pointillist artists. So it kind of took me back to art class, and I was like, oh, I remember Bernadette Peters in the Sondheim musical that we watched in art. So it was sort of this weird circular thinking thing. But I did know she's been in like a Sondheim tribute that I've seen bits of, and so everything else. So I was like, I love the fact that I can watch this show, and I'm a big fan of musicals, and I'm not the most knowledgeable about all of them, but I am a fan of the medium, and so I love when I get references like that.
Yeah, that's always cool.
Yeah.
Nathan, what about you? What is something that you kind of liked about this one?
My favorite part was just having Brain in it, of course.
That was your favorite part? Just that second? I think it was my favorite
part of the whole thing. But it was nice. I've seen a couple hockey games, so she makes a hockey reference.
What, clipping?
Clipping.
That's 2 minutes in the penalty box for clipping.
So
what does it mean when someone's clipped? Just knocked on the side or something?
Know. I just know I watched the game. I'm like, oh, that guy's going to the penalty box for clipping. I didn't see him do anything. Just looked like they were.
That looked like clipping, totally.
Yeah,
definitely clipping.
I'm sorry. I just have to correct myself.
Okay.
It's not based on a painting by Toulouse-Lautrec. I I'm drinking, so I forgot. It's actually George Surratt. I mixed up my French artists. I'm sorry.
Okay, all you art correctionists out there,
you can stop tweeting us.
Stop tweeting now. Okay, stop it. Just stop. Well, one thing I liked about this one was the fact that every major character in it got to sing. I thought that was kind of cool. Like, usually it's just Rita sings one or two songs.
Yeah.
And that's it. But in this case, it was reminiscent a little bit of, now I'm forgetting, Les Miserables. Where there was singing by many different characters throughout
every
this.
Character sang in that one.
I thought that was kind of cool. And I thought that Runt's song was quite cute with the bunnies and...
Wetting your bunny bed.
Yeah, and Rita's songs were really good as well.
This is great. This was perfect. It's always the same thing with cats. There's always some ignorant human assuming we like to chase rats. I'm getting real sick of the stereotypical view. We can't be controlled and we hate to be told what to do.
The animation wasn't...
Yeah, the animation on this was not good.
It wasn't great. I mean, there's some moments, like I can pick out a few, little few seconds where, okay, that looks good, that looks good. But for the most part, it's like, the animation company was handling this one was maybe not the best in some regard. But overall, I thought it was decent animation. I couldn't draw it. I couldn't do it or drew it or whatever. But good songs overall.
Yeah. The bunnies had very red eyes at the very end, except for that one, which was kind of creepy. And I was wondering, what Runt was actually going to say when he says to Rita. He's like, Rita? And then she's like, don't. I told you to go to the bathroom before we left. But it's like, was that what Runt was going to say?
The rabbit was... was a rabid rabbit?
Yeah, I think he's like, I think these rabbits are going to attack us or something.
And then you could have was it pink eyes or was it red eyes?
They were red, but I mean, there are bunnies that have red eyes. It's
not bunnies I want in my house.
Exactly, it's creepy.
The bunnies reminded me of these books my brother used to read called Bunnicula.
Oh yeah,
when he was a kid, and it's like a bunny crossed with Dracula, and I kept thinking, oh, it's Bunnicula bunnies.
Kelly, somebody just checked that out from the library today at my school.
That's hilarious.
I was just scanning in books, and Bunnicula was one of them. I'm like, I remember this book from a little kid. So. Bunnicula. Anyway. Okay, well, there's other, things in general, but overall, I would say it's a very decent Rita and Runt cartoon.
Decent.
Very decent. Well, let's go ahead and get over to our next cartoon, which is Mindy and Buttons once again, and it's called What a Dump. And What a Dump was written by Randy Rogel, and it was directed by Barry Caldwell. Let's see. I'll go ahead and go over what a dump is.
What happened in this, Joey?
Okay, well, Mindy and Buttons are sitting in the yard once again, and the mom is there, and she basically takes Mindy's doll, which is kind of a ragged doll, to replace it with one that wets. And then the mother has to go inside after warning Buttons not to get dirty, things like that. She goes inside to tell her best friend all about her new apron, to basically brag about this apron. And of course, this is going to take her attention away from Mindy the entire cartoon.
Yeah.
She's going to brag about this. I can't get over this apron. The fact that she spent like 7 minutes bragging about an apron, which I thought was hilarious. But anyway, of course, when, she puts the ragged doll in the trash and Mindy's bouncing on her little string on her tree again, like she does. This is what Mindy does. And she sees that the doll's in the trash. So Mindy decides to unclip herself and basically gets carried off with the trash to try to get her dolly. And they end up going to not really a dump, but more of a recycling plant, because this is the early 90s when everyone is like, you have to recycle.
Yeah, they didn't do a good job recycling at this plant. But
No, they just kind of threw whatever they wanted into just a conveyor belt.
Well, whatever.
But whatever. They were in piles at certain points at this plant, I noticed, but whatever.
It seems like why put it in a box if you whatever.
Whatever. We don't work there. We don't know what they do. But basically, when it's all said and done, they get back to the house. And how the heck do they get back to the house, now that I think about it?
They take a truck. Mindy's in the back of a truck and happens to be where the dolly's at. And
Okay. Yeah, see, by that point, I'm like, okay, I'm getting the point.
and then they're going to come back
They
home.
got back home, and Buttons gets in trouble.
Because he went through the trash. And
Yeah, he was dirty. And so there you go. But he got a bath, which really isn't, honestly, the worst punishment that Buttons has gotten.
Could have been worse. He probably needed it, really, after going... Because he actually was in a dump or a recycling center. So.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the cultural references in here real fast. Of course, the title, What a Dump, is based upon a line that Bette Davis said in the movie Beyond the Forest. So here's a little drop of Bette Davis saying What a Dump in that movie.
Rosa, you got back all right?
I got back.
How's your foot?
Fine. What a dump.
Now, the other kinds of things that were references really were Spielberg references.
Yay!
And the one that was pretty obvious to anyone who's seen the movie is, of course, when Buttons goes to try to find Mindy, there's crates everywhere.
Yeah.
Much like Area 51 in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they put the Ark away in these crates and everything. And the shot is very similar.
That's not Area 51.
Oh, it is Area 51.
I think it's Area 51 in Crystal Skull, but...
Yes.
I don't know if it's Area 51
in... It's Area 51. It is. I bet you. I don't know what we're doing. Area 51, Crystal Skull.
Well, in Crystal Skull, it's definitely... I think
And you said Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, but we can... But, hey.
They could have moved...
They could have moved from place to place, but isn't the assumption that when you...
Love Steven Spielberg. Smile. I love Steven Spielberg.
And no matter what you think about Crystal Skull, hey, we're going to have at least one more Indiana Jones film on the table.
I mean, yay.
That's a good thing, Kelly.
It could be good.
No. I actually am at the point in my life, well, because I've been there for like 20 years, is I would be fine with Sean Patrick Flannery reprising his role. You know what?
He is around the right age mark right now where he could do some of that. They could place him in the early 1930s, like around the Temple of Doom-ish time.
Some more prequels. Let's do prequels.
Nothing against Harrison Ford. Obviously, I mean, I absolutely love him, and he is Indiana Jones, but I had part of my problem with Crystal Skull is I watched it in the theater with my dad, and my dad's the same age as Harrison Ford. And I'm like, no. I mean, I know Harrison's fit. My dad's really healthy for his age, but he's like 72. No.
Harrison Ford's even older than that, isn't he?
No, I think they're roughly the same. I honestly think they were born the same year at least.
Siri, how old is Harrison Ford? Let's find out here for sure. Hang on a second here. Hang on.
Harrison Ford is 74.
There we go.
You know what? My dad may be 74.
There you go. Maybe
Happy birthday!
Is your dad Harrison Ford, Kelly? Come on.
No, you know what? Okay, my dad is the same age as Steven Spielberg, so I guess Harrison's a little older than Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
Because Daddy was born in 44, and Spielberg, I believe, was 44. So... Anyway, but that's never...
Well, I've enjoyed this conversation much more than the Mindy and Buttons cartoon, I gotta say.
Than the episode.
Anyway, I was like, no, I can't see someone my dad's age running around and swinging on ropes, and, it just, at some point, it's like, okay, no, I cannot suspend my disbelief any longer, no matter how fit and hunky Harrison Ford still is. I mean...
I can.
It was like watching him in The Force Awakens. It just made me sad because it's like he's I don't know. They're just killing off his characters, and he's not really part of the main story anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Or as Harrison Ford would say, "Who cares?"
Well, I know, and that's the thing. It's like I don't even know why he keeps doing these. He doesn't need the money.
Yeah.
And I don't think he does it for the fans. I mean, he's kind of his own self, and I guess he does it because he wants to.
Fly this airplane.
No real major motivation.
Watch out, everybody.
Harrison Ford's here. Harrison Ford! Hey!
Everybody, I just thought I'd visit the Animanicast.
Wow, this is an exclusive.
It's just, what are you doing in here?
Well, we have a little show. I'm here with Kelly and Joey. Joey's here too.
Hey, how's it going, Harrison?
Harrison, what is it like working with Steven Spielberg?
Steven's great. He's always there. With the telling me to put the whip back on, and I say, sure, Steven. Anything.
Pass you the whip.
Yeah, pass me the whip, and I'll throw you the idol.
Nice.
I'll stick around if you got another question.
No, I don't have any more questions. Do you have any other questions, Kelly, for Harrison?
No.
Oh gosh.
I mean, there's a once in a lifetime chance.
Look, I gotta get going.
I already asked about.
You got your plane parked outside? Or?
I got my plane. I just parked it outside. They told me not to land on the street here outside the house.
But you did it anyways.
I did it. I'm Harrison Ford.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
I can do whatever.
Just pay a little fine or something.
Yeah, they're fine.
All right.
All right. Bye, Harrison.
Bye.
Oh my god.
I think you ran into a wall there at the end.
That was so weird and random, and I'm drinking.
Well, the other Spielberg reference that I could find, going back to Mindy and Buttons here real quick, there was one more where when Mindy is first escaping over the fence, and there's this very dramatic camera zoom in on Buttons' face, and it is very reminiscent to the zoom in on Chief Brody's face in Jaws when he's looking at the first kid getting attacked by the shark. I think it was the first kid out there getting attacked by the shark. But anyway.
It was like the second victim, but the first kid, Alex Kintner.
Yes, the Kintner boy. Anyway. So yes, very reminiscent. And in fact, I guess it was may have been recycled from a previous episode, like from Cat. I'm sorry. What is it called? It's called
Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I believe.
Cat on a Hot Steel Beam, or Dog on a Hot Steel Beam, or whatever the construction episode was.
Episode 27, I think, was the. I was going to try to look for it.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's reminiscent. I guess it was a recycled animation, perhaps, of a thing. So we missed it the first time. So
saying it now.
Saying it now. Overall, I thought it was a cute Mindy and Buttons. Didn't really give us anything new per se. Again, my favorite part was the whole apron bit. I just think that the mom just getting so mad at the end about this woman did not, she didn't like the apron enough or something. And
well, no, it would never fit you, Mary Beth. Well, I never. Mary Beth's just jealous of my new apron.
Yeah. That was funny. What about you, Nathan? What do you think?
Animation was still, again, not great on this. I guess it was the same animation company. But, it was fine. No real memorable parts necessarily.
Yeah, I forgot completely how they got home. That's how unmemorable it was for me. Kelly, what about you?
Well, my main takeaway, obviously, from it was the already aforementioned warehouse from Raiders of the Lost Ark reference.
Yeah, there you go. Anytime you throw a Spielberg.
Yeah, that was the most I got out of it.
Well, coming up on the IndieCast, I'm sorry, the Animanicast.
Yeah, all right.
The IndieCast is actually another great podcast, by the way, people should listen to if you like Indiana Jones.
I've never listened to it.
It's great. The IndieCast. Mitch Halleck.
But
right
do they
there
have
hosts
Indiana Jones on the IndieCast?
Do they talk about young Indiana Jones?
They do. They do.
Do they swoon over Sean Patrick Flannery? Because that's.
I don't think they have any.
So important.
You know, Kelly, you need to write in or do something. We need to get you in contact with Mitch over there because Mitch Halleck and Ed Dollister.
So is it guys?
It's just guys, and they don't swoon over.
Oh, okay.
So we gotta.
Yeah. Well, maybe I just do my own podcast where I just
Just swoon the whole time.
Over Shop Touch Refinery.
Yeah.
It's called the Swooncast.
Okay, well, before we go to our last segment, let's go to a commercial for T-Public.
What?
We'll be right back. Yup, after these messages. And we hope that you'll be back too.
Well, today's episode is brought to you once again by the good folks over at tpublic.com. And tpublic.com is a fantastic store that you can go to, and you can check out original artist designed shirts, mashups, and all other types of stuff, including a shirt with the Animanicast logo on it as well, which is really cool. T-Public has given us our own merchandise store. And you go over there and you can see not only our logo shirt, but tons of other designs as well that have to deal with Animaniacs and Freakazoid and Pinky and the Brain and Spielberg and Star Wars and whatever we kind of deem cool. It gets the Animanicast seal of approval. And each and every week we're going to talk about a design that we particularly like. So, Nathan.
Yeah.
Let's start with you this week.
I got it. It's called Vote Brain by Top Notchy, and it's Brain. Let's put the brain in the White House. And he has doing the Nixon fingers, and he has like a little toupee kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Kind of cute.
Kind of Trumpish toupee going on.
It's kind of a
right
Trump
there.
Nixon brain kind of mashup.
Yeah,
there,
so it's kind of a new take on the put a brain in the White House design right there. His face is a little different, and yeah, very cool. So there you go. Kelly, what about you?
I really like a shirt that I already own.
Oh.
It's called Triceratops Hunt Club T-shirt. And there's a lot going on in this shirt, and you really have to be in the know about all things Spielberg. And fortunately, I am in the know. So it's called Spielberg's Hunt Club, and it has a little cartoony picture of Steven's face, and then it has like a Triceratops head down below it, and then in a banner it says "Spared no expense," and it's got 2 rifles. So this is actually sort of making fun of a meme that sort of went viral a couple years ago, where someone either really thought that Spielberg had killed a Triceratops and started spreading the picture, and then everybody thought it was funny, or they were just doing it in jest, and it still caught on fire, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe somebody thought he actually killed this animal. Yeah. So it's sort of taking that and using that in an idea of a shirt. And of course, the "spared no expense" is a reference to Hammond's oft-used phrase in the movie, and it's just a fun shirt, and I love the fact that Spielberg's actually on the shirt. You don't see that very often. Oh, and the designer is Ollie Pop.
That's a cool name for it.
Yeah.
That's one of the other cool things, is the punny names that the designers put for themselves. Well, I'm picking something that's Spielberg as well, and I know there's a lot of our listeners who are fans of Roger Rabbit, and quite frankly, I am too. So I went ahead and I put in our store a design called Bunny Love. And it's simply a kind of a cute take on Roger Rabbit and Jessica. Jessica Rabbit is kind of just walking in front of Roger, and he is floating with love behind her. It's like the hearts are carrying him behind her. And it's just super cute. I think personally it would look, instead of putting it on a shirt, I think it would look really good on a mug or something like that. So I think for me, I would get that in a mug. And it's called Bunny Love. And it's designed by Randy Vandervlag. That's not a punny name, but it's probably his real name. So yeah, good job, Randy. I really like the design. So once again, in order to check out all those designs and much more, go over to tiny.cc/Animanicast, and then you can get a quick link to the T-Public Animanicast store.
Cool.
And we'll have that link also in the show notes as well.
Thanks.
Let's go ahead and get to our last segment right here, which is called Survey Ladies. Well, Survey Ladies was written by Deanna Oliver and Sherry Stoner, and it was directed by Rusty Mills. Before we get into this real quick, there was a quick chase transition, by the way, right before this. It was literally like 5 seconds and had some of the best animation in the entire episode. Yeah. And it was a good camera angle too. It was on the street level, and the Warners were like jumping towards the camera.
So if all you want to see is good animation, just go to that 5 seconds and then skip the rest of the episode, I guess.
But this one right here was a very nice cartoon, very funny. And Kelly, so tell us, what basically happens here in Survey Ladies?
The Warners go to the mall, and they're looking for a birthday gift for Dr. Scratch and Sniff. And it just reminded me how much I miss malls. Malls are sort of a dying art. But they are suddenly assaulted by these survey ladies, these two ladies who want to ask them, surveys. And they start, they're like, okay, yeah, we'll answer some questions. But the questions are ridiculous because they're like, do you eat beans? Do you want to see a new movie starring George Wendt? Do you eat beans with George Wendt? And it's just like, it's all about beans and George Wendt. And it's so weird and annoying. And so they get away. And, but as they continue throughout the mall, these ladies show up everywhere, in the perfume store and just absolutely everywhere bothering them. And, I've been like, when I was younger, I'd go to the mall with my mom, and people would actually approach her with a survey, and she'd wave her hand no, and start walking really fast. So, I never stopped to take a survey, but it kind of reminded me of those times where she's like, no, don't talk to me.
But I don't see many survey ladies anymore.
Yeah, I remember when this came out around that time. I would see surveys, and I would actually really want to do it.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
I'm glad you remember that. Nathan and I used to I was just at the Tucson Mall actually just before coming here, getting some birthday gifts for my wife. Yeah, I'm a very early Christmas shopper. I usually get my Christmas shopping done in May, April, so whatever. Now, I was getting some birthday gifts, and I would walk right by where the survey ladies used to stop people. And back in the 90s, at this point, I was kind of like Wacko in this one, where Wacko stuck around to take the survey every time, and Yakko and Dot had to pull him away to do it. Because I remember as a kid, when our parents, we'd go to church, and then after church, we would all go to the mall, and our parents would just say, okay, we'll meet again in 2 hours, and we'd be like, okay. And there'd usually be these ladies there in the mall with their clipboards asking people if they'd like to take surveys. And we would really want to take surveys. Yeah. This was pre-internet stuff, so every now and then
asked questions to little kids.
But that's the problem. They never really were interested in the opinions of kids.
I think my brother got to see a trailer for a Goofy movie. Before it came out.
Exactly.
He was telling us about it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, our brother Nick got to see that movie trailer. I think it was Goofy movie, probably.
I think it was Goofy movie.
Yeah, he got to go into a whole thing. And
they would pay you $5.
Yeah, they give you $5. So I think that was one of the main reasons we really wanted to get surveyed was, I don't have enough allowance for anything. We'll just hang around these survey ladies until they give us $5.
Give them $5.
Anyway, but yeah, today, I mean, gosh, there's so many surveys now online. It seems like anytime you have to submit whatever, it's like, oh, you want to unsubscribe from our email? Well, why? Take the survey to unsubscribe and do this now and do that now. But at the time, it was, at least as a kid, it was a lot of fun. So I could understand what Wacko was going through.
That was kind of fun. Yeah, like waiting in line at the DMV.
Well, the episode starts off with the Warners going into the mall, and they're kind of singing a song that's reminiscent of "By the Sea, by the Sea, by the Beautiful Sea," but then it changes into something different. And they have mostly, I would say, psychiatric references or psychology references in this one, right? So they go past Freudian slips.
Ooh, how about an outfit from Oedipus Rex menswear? Nah, his mom would hate those. Look, Freudian slips. He makes his own.
And then they have another one right here where it was like Viscott's
friendly, trendy a boutique, Clothe Your Inner Child.
Clothe Your Inner Child, yes. So David Viscott was kind of a TV, radio-ish kind of psychologist, and passed away in 1996, but yeah, apparently was one of those inner child kind of folks right there. Help discover your inner gift or inner child. And there was also an Oedipus, what was the...
It was just Oedipus Rex Clothery.
Yes, his mother would hate it.
His mother would hate it, so...
Yeah, of course, Oedipus Rex with, if you have... I think everyone in college, once they have to usually read Oedipus Rex and Antigone. I think I read Oedipus Rex perhaps in high school, I don't know. But Oedipus Rex, short story, he didn't realize it, but he married his mother and had kids. And then when he found out that what he had done, he poked his eyes out.
I always think of the song by what's-his-face?
Tom Lehrer.
Tom Lehrer, yeah.
Tom Lehrer, which it summarizes the story of Oedipus Rex pretty darn well.
Yeah, I like that song.
There's other things like Crystal Shack, which I'm assuming that's like Radio Shack. One of the things I always like on these episodes is just looking at the background artwork and everything. So there's Crystal Shack in the mall. At some point, the word mall is even misspelled MAUL for some reason, but
Darth Maul.
This is before Darth Maul. But one of them that I noticed right away was Aaron's Fine Art, and Rich Aarons is one of the producers of the show. So, and still does art, by the way. You can find him on Instagram and stuff, posting a lot of his artwork. So, a little reference to Rich Aarons. There's a place called Judy, reference to Cary Grant's, sort of Cary Grant. A lot of people, back in the day when they would do an impression of Cary Grant, they would always say, Judy. And that's my horrible Cary Grant impression, by the way. I was looking that up and saying, when did Cary Grant ever say Judy? And apparently he never really did. Just somehow throughout the years, impressionists started just talking like Cary Grant and saying Judy, and it just caught on. So hey, there you go. I learned something.
The Luke, I'm your father thing. It's a misquote.
Yeah. Fifi LaFume is in here.
Yeah.
Do you think Scratchy'd like some cologne?
We have obsession, repression, and ecstasy.
Do you have anything for beginners?
Of course, she's from Tiny Toon Adventures, the Pepe Le Pew female version right there. Never was a big fan of Fifi on Tiny Toons. Were you, Kelly?
No, not really. It didn't seem to be that much of an interesting character.
Yeah, it was much more like the same thing with Pepe Le Pew. Like, I don't even really remember that much of Fifi other than she smelled like a skunk but I don't think she was as man crazy as like Pepe Le Pew was for.
I like Pepe.
I like Pepe Le Pew.
Pepe Le Pew like goes after the cat, but I just don't remember Fifi like going after like boys that much. Was she the whole joke with her was, I don't know, maybe she did. Again, we'll have to go and look at some of those Tiny Toon things one of these days.
I barely remember Fifi, but I do remember Pepe.
But I bet you do remember Little Plucky Duck.
Oh, elevator go down the hole.
Yes.
Would you like to take a survey? Would you like to take a survey?
No. Elevator go down the hole.
He says one of it, of course, his water go down the hole is his first, famous line. And then they had a whole mall episode in Tiny Toons with Baby Plucky pushing the elevator button, and elevator go up the hole, elevator go down the hole. And Nathan Ruger, of course, does the voice of Baby Plucky. So I may or may not be right on this, but this could be perhaps the last time we see Baby Plucky on Animaniacs.
Maybe.
We'll have to see.
We'll know by
the end.
The end.
Is this the end of Baby Plucky? But I always love seeing Baby Plucky because he's so cute. That's pretty much it. I suppose I think this might have been. There's some reports of Deanna Oliver and Sherry Stoner kind of basing this off of their experiences with survey ladies in the mall.
Yeah, I guess there was a mall right nearby.
Yeah, they would go there during lunch breaks or something like that, I think, and these survey ladies would always go after them, and yeah.
Did you mention the Mission Impossible reference?
Oh, yeah, there's a Mission Implausible.
Good morning, Mr. Phelps.
Mission implausible.
Your mission, should you decide to accept it, is to buy a gift for Dr. Scratch and Sniff. This tape will self-destruct in 6 seconds.
Was it food or was it Memorex?
Look at me. Do you like what you see? Good. Because it's not me. It's a recording of me on new Memorex videotape. This remarkable tape has been recorded and re-recorded 100 times, but I bet you still couldn't tell if it was Memorex or me, which really isn't me. It's Memorex. New Memorex videotape. Even after 100 recordings, you'll wonder, is it live or is it Memorex?
But that was it for references, I think. What other kinds of things do you guys like from this cartoon? Nathan, what's one thing or a couple things?
I really liked when he opens his present at the very end and he's talking to himself, like acting polite but hoping it's not a bomb.
I am opening carefully, expecting a bomb, but acting polite, don't you know?
Would you like to take a survey?
Yes, that was a very cute line.
Yeah, and Dot's line of saying it's a recurring joke. I think we all get it.
Yes, that was
those are my favorite parts of the episode.
Kelly, what about you?
I really love the plucky part. I mean, if we ever get to Ups and Downs, the Animaniacs episode, you'll discover that elevator episodes are some of my favorites on Tiny Toons and Animaniacs for some strange reason. And often when I'll get in an elevator, if I'm with somebody, whether they get the reference or not, I'll go, elevator go up, elevator go down.
Especially if it's a glass elevator, too.
Oh, yeah. And we have some of those at Dragon Con, so it's always fun.
Yeah, hey, I'm just thinking, this episode also really did remind me of the Tucson Mall in our town, too, because not only were there survey ladies, but there was the glass elevator that we would always get into. We'd call it the magic elevator, I think. I don't know why. I think my mom called it the magic elevator. Why?
It's magic.
Who knows? It's magic. She just never heard of stairs or elevators before. She always used stairs.
It's magic.
It's magic. This magical room.
Door closes, and then, look, it changes outside.
It's magic.
Well, yeah, it was a very cute. I mean, the survey ladies. I mean, it's the animation's not that great in it.
Yeah, animation again is not great,
but it's decent.
It's good enough, and the
writing was good.
The writing is great. Yeah. Lots of jokes.
Oh, I should mention George Wendt, by the way, is Norm from Cheers. Mm-hmm. So there you go, George Wendt.
And I guess I would see him in a bean-eating movie.
Would you?
I don't know.
Would you eat beans with George Wendt, though?
Yeah, I already said I would at the very beginning.
Oh, good. I'm glad. And do you like beans?
Yeah. I like, the Mr. Skullhead.
Oh, Mr.
Being
Skullhead.
Surveyed was very
Until
funny
his
too.
head falls off.
Yeah, I was just saying yes and no. And
invalid. I like how they have an invalid survey. And they have to start all over again.
Yeah, every time.
Well, very nice. Let's go ahead and get over to our water tower rating. Kelly, let's start with you this time. How many water towers out of 5 would you give today's episode?
Wow. That's really tough, and I hadn't thought about it until just now. This episode was kind of all over the place with, 3 very different segments. But because of, Plucky and the Spielberg references and, had a lot of cool little moments, I enjoyed it overall. I think I'll give it, I can't be too generous because it wasn't one of those that I just absolutely would love to watch over and over again and quote like some of the other stronger episodes. Mm-hmm. So I think I'll give it kind of an average or above average 3.5.
3.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Nathan, what about you?
I'm going for a 3.
A 3.
And it's I would do higher if the first 2 segments were a little better. It's pretty much all going to that third segment.
Yeah.
And if the animation was better, it could also get higher, but it just kind of some things holding it down, but
all right.
Mostly animation. All 3 segments was.
Well, I'm going to give it a 3.5 as well. As Kelly, I just think I think the first 2, the Mindy and Buttons one is just Mindy and Buttons.
Yeah,
it did have some Spielberg references, which were cool. The songs I thought in the first segment were nice. It was nice to see everyone sing. But yeah, Survey Ladies was good. It was a good, decent episode.
Yeah,
not one of the best, but again, not one that I would necessarily skip. Like if it started up and. I'd watch it again.
Yeah, and if it was just that third segment, I would.
Totally.
I would watch that on repeat.
Totally. Yeah, so. That third one is fantastic. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get to our Twitter poll results for last week. And you know what? The announcer, I'm going to give him the week off because I'm just sick and tired of that guy. So, so guess what? I am going to go ahead and give the Twitter poll results.
Weird.
I know, this is weird. I usually don't do this, but I'm going to do it this time. Last week we asked, which of these non-traditional #Animaniacs segments is your favorite #Animanicast poll? And boy, oh boy, this ended up becoming a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. The choices were The Flame, Wings Take Heart, White Gloves, and Hollywood Chuck. Wings Take Heart got 9% of the vote. Okay. So that means 1 or 2 people voted for that one.
Yeah.
So somebody liked it. But there was almost a 3-way tie for the next one. The Flame got 30%. Mm-hmm. White Gloves got 30%. And Hollywood Chuck got 31%.
Surprising. Wow.
So Hollywood Chuck won this poll. And I didn't vote for this one, but we could technically do almost like a tiebreaker if we wanted to.
I voted.
Oh, you did vote. Okay, which one of those did you vote for?
I voted for The Flame.
The Flame. Why do you like The Flame?
I just thought it was semi-educational and just kind of some references to like Disney, whatever, dancings.
Oh, yeah, the dancing Fantasia kind of stuff going on. Stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Kelly, what about you? Which of those segments is your favorite?
I guess I kind of like The Flame, too. It was cute, and I did like the educational aspect of it. It had a different tone than most of the Animaniacs cartoons, but it fit really well within the episode that it aired in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what, guys? We are doing an upset on this poll, and I'm officially calling The Flame the winner because I'm voting for The Flame as well.
Okay.
And with Kelly and me, we're breaking the stalemate, as it were, I believe. And I'm going to say, even though the Twitter thing says the Hollywood Chuck won, I'm going to officially say that The Flame is the winner. Because, I don't know, I like The Flame because...
Our votes are worth more than other people's anyways, right?
No, exactly. We're worth like so much more. No. No, you can say that Hollywood Chuck won if you want, on paper or whatever.
Yeah.
But officially, in our hearts, it's The Flame.
The Flame takes heart.
Because you know what? Yes. You know why? Because The Flame is cute. He's just a cute little guy. I like him. And he comes back. Mm-hmm. He comes back.
He's the only one that...
Hollywood Chuck didn't come back?
No.
Well, I think he came back maybe in the background or something like that. But maybe.
He doesn't get his own segment again.
Yeah, exactly. So The Flame wins.
Yeah.
So there we go. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to our brand new poll for this week. And Nathan, do you have that one written down?
Yes, I have it right here.
Okay.
So the question is, what is the best Rita and Runt cartoon so far? Round 2.
Round 2. Fight.
So we have Frank and Runt, which was the Halloween episode where they fought a dog that was Frankenstein, I guess.
Yeah, Frankenstein doggish.
There was Putting on the Blitz. That was when they're in Germany.
Oh, yeah. The Don Bluth-ish kind of serious Rita and Runt one kind of felt like, okay.
And there's Smitten with Kittens, where they find a litter of kittens, and they have to take care of it. And
they say, "Milk, please, Mama," and it drives me crazy now. Okay.
And Rita struggles with whether being a mother or whatever like that. Yeah. And then there was today's of Nice and Men. So
there you go.
There we go.
All right, so go ahead and go to twitter.com/Animanicast or simply search on Twitter for hashtag Animanicast poll, and you can make your voice heard. Well, I guess that's just about it for today's episode. Am I correct in saying this? I think I am.
I think so.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get to contact information. Kelly, where can people get in contact with you if they'd like to say hi?
They can use the Force.
Ooh.
Or email me, kelly@bigshinyrobot.com, or I'm at Twitter, YodaPrincess, YODAPRNCSS.
Very cool. And Nathan, what about you?
Hey, I'm on Twitter, folks. You can find me, Django FT. That's me.
All right. And as for me, Joey, I am on Twitter, Joey in Tucson, but I usually don't mess around with that account because I'm usually messing around with the Animanicast kind of stuff. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. And of course, you can find us over at retrozap.com at retrozap.com/Animanicast. There's tons of stuff at RetroZap that you should check out. Great articles, great videos, great podcasts. Check them all out at retrozap.com. Do it now. Or, of course, you can give us an email, which is animanicast@retrozap.com as well. Feel free to send us an email. Send us your thoughts on this episode or past episodes of Animaniacs or whatever. We just love to do it. Hey, iTunes feedback. We always appreciate those. How do you do that, Nathan?
Google it.
Google it.
Classic.
You find out how to do it by Googling it. And we'll read your 5-star positive reviews on the show, as always. And with that, it's time to go. So for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.
It's time to close your bunny eyes and rest your bunny heads. Sleep all night through, and I hope that you won't wet your bunny beds. Definitely don't want to wet the bunny beds.
Hey, it's a cartoon. What'd you expect, Sondheim?